In the group chats, on social media, in the streets, there's a place where it all comes together. The comment section. This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Folks, welcome to another episode of the comment section here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Mahiri Stewart, and we are running it solo today, as Siobhan would have told you if you were listening to Nationwide at 5. You'd know that Shalois Michael is on leave this week, but as the song suggests, as long as I've got you, this show will still continue on. And it's ironic too, because I wasn't here last Friday, so Shaloi had to do it by herself. And now Shaloi is gone, so I'm doing it by myself today and for the rest of the week until Shaloi comes back with us next week, Monday. So we're running solo this week, folks, but the show must go on, and the show will go on. Welcome to the comment section, the place to be. Every 7 o'clock, every weekday at 7 o'clock to 7:30. Thank you all for tuning in. And yes, Knoxley, I am indeed running solo. And we have quite the public opinion today, 7:05, so let's get straight into it. Now, I'll tell you what, folks. We run the numbers. When you run the numbers, you'll find out that Jamaica's net population grew by like 600 people in 2025. Just 600, yeah? 600. This is in spite of close to 30,000 births. That's according to the 2025 Economic and Social Survey published by the Planning Institute of Jamaica. PIOJ. At the end of 2025, there are an estimated 2.764 million people living in Jamaica. 1.3 million of them were males, 1.39 of them were females. That means there are 27,000 more females than males. But the bottom line is, the reason that this is a story, or the sinking point of the story, is the fact that, yeah, man, the birth rate's still kind of low, isn't it? 600 people. Mind you, they just said 30,000 births, yet the population growth was only 600. That just goes to show you the deficit that we were working with before. And we've heard Dr. Tufton talk about it at nausea. And we've heard a couple other persons express concern about it. But yeah, not enough babies are being born, man, to replace the aging population. And it's been a concern for many folks. So to talk about that concern, we decided that for public opinion, we're going to ask you what you think is the biggest contributor to this plunging birth rate. And boy, did we get some answers, man. Honestly, this is one of them public opinions that you almost wish you could add more time to the show in order to just get through all of them. But we're going to try and get through as many as we can, man. So when we go over to Facebook, we always start off with Facebook. The very first comment comes to us by Natalie Winter. And Natalie Winter says, the lack of loyalty and true love in relationships that holds it together and keeps strong. And that's her reason for the fact that the birth rate is plunging. Vanessa Samuels says women nowadays have careers and some people just don't want the responsibility of children. It's not money. It's not the money. People with the most kids are of the poorer class, so it's not the money. Eva Clean Courts says high cost of living and absent fathers. Okay. Raquel Winter Blake says women being tired of bearing the burden of child rearing alone. Fantastic Bell says one less hungry child, uneducated, fatherless, motherless. The way how the world is running, it's very hard to bring children into this world. Cozy says most women don't know how to make baby porridge. And Honest Man PNP says paid parental leave. So that's what we have so far on Facebook. And we had this discussion in the newsroom this afternoon in the lead up to asking this public opinion. And there were a couple that were listed here that I think were echoed in that same meeting. Someone was saying, listen, man, the world kind of crazy right now. And I don't know if I want to bring a child into this crazy world. And there's some persons who just don't want children. And that was a view shared by a good number, well, probably 2 or 3 persons in the meeting that, listen, man, they just don't want children. And that's their right. But the point about the world you're going to birth a child into was another one. And that's one that bugs me every now and again. As somebody who would want to be a father in the future, that one always bugs me. People worrying about how the world is. But the thing that worries me the most about the world in terms of bringing a child into it, which may come as a shock to you, is actually just climate change. I always wonder, like, if I birth a child, given how hot the place is right now, and knowing that global warming only getting worse and worse with AI and data centers all over the place, I'm like, my child's gonna live in a very, very hot world. And that's bad. So that's always been something that's been in the back of my head when it comes to birthing a child. I don't want to birth my child into a world that's literally deteriorating. That's always been my fear. But let's keep going, man. When we go over to Instagram, we have a couple interesting answers, including one from our wonderful Ricardo Brooks. Yes, our wonderful NNN alumni, Ricardo Brooks, who simply says children are expensive. Never say a better thing in them life. Listen, man, children cost money, man. You don't just have a child and that's it. You know what I'm saying? There some you gotta raise for the next 20 years plus, every day for the rest of your life. You're gonna have to send them to school, all kinds of stuff, man. That's just school, and there's healthcare, immunization. You have to build a roof put over them head, buy them clothes, buy them food every day. Children are indeed expensive. Noxley says, in my view, the biggest contributor to the plunging birth rate is the changing reality of young Jamaicans. Many young people do not feel financially secure enough to have children. The high cost of living, expensive housing, childcare costs, limited economic opportunities, uncertainty about the future, causing many to delay starting families or decide not to have children at all. The declining birth rate is a warning sign. When young people no longer believe they can afford to build a family in their own country, we must ask what kind of future we are creating for the next generation. Will Ryan Wilson says the cost of living is just way too high. Women are focused on furthering their educational lives. They're improving their lives. And additionally, our men, for the most part, are not serious about raising families, and our women reject that. Yeah, because, like, what do you do, man? I mean, I feel like that's an underrated aspect to all of this. Some people just can't find somebody that they're willing to raise a child with. Some people want the child, but they don't really know the person through which they're gonna have that child. And I think it goes both ways. But I can understand the woman aspect of just not finding somebody that you trust enough to be there by your side the whole 9 yards, through pregnancy, through childbirth, through the early childhood, through the whole 9 yards, man. Is the quality of men depleting? Are we trash now, bro? Or are there not enough good men? Are there not enough good men out there for the young Jamaican women to look at and be like, listen, man, that's the man whose baby I'm gonna have. How many women can say that proudly? Hopefully a lot. Hopefully a lot, man. We keep going. Mr. Buzzy Byfield says liberation and career-oriented nature of women, men not taking on roles, so women not seeing childbearing as a viable option. It has little to do with economics, as many are saying. Rich, wealthy, well-off people, whatever you may call them, are also not having kids, even if married, because it all just comes down to what you want, man. Some people just don't want to have children. Some people just don't want to have children. Some some persons are saying the days of the stay-at-home mom are over. No man makes enough to have a household in which the woman doesn't have to work because times are hard. I mean, I don't know. That could be one of them. I can definitely see that being a factor. But yeah, someone Alpha Nisha says, where we gonna put them? The cost of rent is half a paycheck and you don't pay bills nor groceries yet, much less to think about the child's needs. Build a home give the young people and see if some don't change their minds. I think that's a pretty interesting one. It's just like when people ask me why do I have a car, I'm like, listen, man, having a car, it's like having I think I've said it on the show before. Having a car is like having a child. You have to pay for insurance. You have to put gas in it all the time. Like, that's a financial responsibility that some people can't even manage. And that's a car. Just imagine a child. You have to pay their school fee, food for them every day, extracurricular activities every day, childbirth in and of itself, pregnancy, even the pre-birth costs a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's a commitment. But there is truth to the fact that persons who wait on the perfect scenario to have children will probably be waiting forever because, you know, what constitutes a perfect scenario and how many persons have that privilege to wait until the perfect scenario. You know, sometimes it's not always going to be a perfect scenario. You still have to have the pitney regardless. You know what I'm saying? Empress Drea says men do not want families. They want to have many children with many women. Women are choosing themselves. Scorpion Queen says the men not stepping up to their responsibility. O'Brien Rose said people don't like hard life. They're putting themselves first. Okay, man. And J Marb MNT says housing prices are crazy. Things are generally expensive here in Jamaica. Automatically childcare is expensive. No proper planning, no proper family planning. A lot of children were a result of ad hoc pregnancies, which I think is also a very important point. Persons don't want to have children sporadically. They want to plan it out, and to plan it out, you have to consider all of these factors, man. So once again, very interesting pub-up, very interesting discussion we've just had, one that we're going to be having for years to come, if you ask me. But that's what we have so far on Public Opinion. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to find out what's cooking on the socials.
Need help or want to report damage? Visit supportjamaica.gov.jm to find nearby aid, updates, and emergency support all in one place. The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is...
It's 15 minutes after 7.
Attention contractors, developers, and homeowners. Glacier White Corian Solid Surface is now at a special price. While stocks last, choose Corian for your commercial and residential projects. You won't regret it. It's durable, beautiful, and long-lasting. No sealing necessary. Corian is the #1 solid surface in the world. Second to none. Visit Home International Limited at 104 Constant Spring Road. Telephone 876-755-1970 or 876-276-6448. Open Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Hey, turn up to 25. Turn up to 25. Could I drive out fresh in a MG ride with a staycation all inclusive flex? Yeah. I touch a million cash. Yes. Smart TV, PS5, and home upgrade.
Turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. Sign up for Switch to Postpaid or Digicel Plus. Buy a SIM. Top up with 5 bills or more. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. A smartphone deal or just pay your bill. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5, 2026. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions.
A voice you love returns home. This August, afternoons on Nationwide on air and online will never be the same.
From the biggest tracks to the biggest energy, Nationwide keeps it moving. If you love the vibes, come and lock in with us for real.
World boss, leave a prison could stop me.
Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Practice. God me say you watch you of me practice.
What's Cooking is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Limited, Jamaica's leading distributor of industrial automation and control solutions.
Welcome back to the comment section here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm your host, Mahiri Stewart. Before we get into what's cooking, there's still a couple more comments from our public opinion that I want to get through. A lot of persons are answering in the YouTube chat, and Debbie Anford says, bring a child into this world costs money. Yeah. Just imagine having some Mahiri juniors running around calling me Uncle Knoxley. That's funny, man. Yeah, man. David Nabar says the men don't want no man, the women don't want no man. Fair enough. But Philip Jackson says, Mahiri and all of you who are giving these silly excuses, ask yourself if your parents are saying all that. If your parents are saying all that, should you be around talking these trash? Well, let me put it this way. In my situation, I was born to two gainfully employed parents. My mother was a teacher. My father was an engineer. They were both well employed. So they were in a situation that I feel like most persons would consider to be one good enough to have a child in. And I think wanting to have a similar stable life before having a child does not constitute as a silly excuse. That's a perfectly valid excuse. Not to be disrespectful or anything, but I think you could argue that this generation is probably playing it too safe. What about the other generation, man? They're probably an argument that y'all were playing it not safe enough. You know what I'm saying? There are probably people back then having children all kind of... Listen, man. Don't pretend like back then people weren't just having like 8, 10 children all the time, even when it wasn't financially viable and you were raising them children in a crazy household. With it, like that, it goes both ways, yeah? You can argue that there are excuses and maybe some of them aren't valid, but there's nothing wrong with saying, listen, man, I want a certain life before I bring a child into this world to ensure that that child has the best possible life. Nothing wrong with that, Philip. Come on, man. It's not a silly excuse. Maybe you think some of them are silly, but surely you think at least some of them are valid. Come on. But I tell you what, folks, let's find out what's cooking on the socials. And what's cooking on the socials is all of us as a collective, all of us as people. We've been cooking. This weekend was genuinely insane as someone who doesn't possess a fan. I'll tell you all straight, man, I do have a fan. But I'm going to have to get one because this weekend was nuts. And I've been seeing tweets all over the place saying, listen, man, this heat is not normal. And we've been talking about the heat, but this past weekend that I've had reinforced it. You see, when I was younger, when the sun went down, usually it meant the place got cooler. Not anymore, man. I was dripping in sweat hours after the sunset. And I'm just there in the pool of sweat thinking, how is this possible? How is this heat possible? And I know how. Yeah, climate change, global warming. We live in a hotter society. We live in a tropical marine climate as is. We live on an island near the equator. I can't pretend to not understand how this stuff works. But this heat is nuts. It's genuinely crazy. I don't like coming here on a Sunday ever to work. I hate it. It's the least favorite part of my job. But this Sunday, knowing that I was coming to some place that had AC, I came here earlier than I should have just to relish in the cool breeze, just to relish in the AC. I had to. It was that crazy at home. And I'm just seeing so many people talking now about how hot it is. And I just thought it would be worth it, given that the segment is called What's Cooking, to see if anybody in the YouTube chat is also cooking. Because I was cooking this weekend. It was very hot. It's very, very hot. And it's not even really just a Kingston thing. When I went back to Mandeville, it's pretty hot down there too. Not as hot as down here, but still hot nonetheless. I've never seen nothing like this in my life, man. Yeah, it's crazy. Look at that. News commentator J.A. says, Mahiri, I know JPS is going to send me a $100,000 light bill because every AC in the house is working. And that's like, fans are going to be on through the night. ACs are going to be on through the night. Y'all have them portable fans with the batteries. I'm probably going to have to invest in one of those. You guys see those people walking around with the fans that you can put around your neck and you can like turn them to your face? We're going to need all of them things to survive this heat wave. We're in July, so we're at the midpoint of summer. It's probably going to get cooler. rainier when we reach September and October and them times. But until then, with El Nino going around the place, making the place hot, dry, people, I can't, man. And I feel like we have these discussions all the time. It's crazy, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Philip Jackson not done with me, folks. Let's keep going back. We're going back. Philip Jackson not done with me. He says, Mahiri, think about if you were not given life to be around now to replace older journalists who have left us. What would this world be without our replacement? Listen, Philip Jackson, to be fair, I would never want to imagine a world without me. A world without me would suck. That is very valid. But that still doesn't invalidate the point that persons in a perfect world, and I know that there's no such thing as a perfect world, but persons want to have a standard of living that they can grow their child in, where they won't have to worry about certain expenses. And I think if my parents weren't in a situation in which they could have given that to me, they probably wouldn't have had me. And guess what, Philip? That's okay. Because I would have rather that not happened. I would have rather I didn't exist than exist under circumstances that would have made my mom and dad's life hell. That would have been rough. And that's not to say I wouldn't have still become a upstanding gent out of all of it. But I feel like there are persons out there who cannot say the same. I feel there's some persons out there who were forced basically to have children in not the best circumstances. And it led to terrible childhoods. There are persons out there who were parents that should have never been parents. Some persons are just not meant to be parents. Some persons are bad parents. And that's the secret you don't want to hear. Some persons just aren't fit for parenting, man. Some persons are bad parents and they raise their children not well. And that causes that child to have a bad childhood and sometimes a bad adulthood and put them on a life that they shouldn't be on to. Another life snuffed out. Why? Because the child did not get to be raised in a proper environment with proper parents. And that is something that you need to take into consideration. I was lucky enough to have two gainfully employed parents who were role models, who I could look up to, who raised me well. That is a privilege. Yeah? And I think that's a privilege that some persons take for granted because they don't know that there are people out there living harder lives than them, man. So yeah, Philip. Hey, man. I'm telling you, this is one of them things that we'd need like 2 comment sections to discuss. We could very well have a part 2 to this tomorrow if needs be. But yeah, man, between the heat and what is clearly a hot debate in the YouTube chat, that is what was cooking on the socials today. On, what day is it? July 13, 2026. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to find out what my comment of the day is.
What's Cooking was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Limited, Jamaica's leading distributor of industrial automation and control solutions.
A voice, a personality you love returns to Nationwide this August. Afternoons on air and online at Nationwide will never be the same.
Power in great moments. If you have financial needs, Chris and Charles will fix them for you. Power in great moments since 1992. Oh, we have it all. Power in great moments. Relax, you got Chris and Charles. Oh, we have it all. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
We're back here on the comment section. It's time for comment of the day. And when I go through the YouTube chat, there is one that I do see that kind of hammers home the point I was trying to make this whole time. News commentator J.A. This cycle of breeding like animals and having the innocent children suffer and the demons abuse them. I'm telling y'all, man. There's some persons who are just not meant to be parents. And I understand the argument that, listen, man, if all of the young people just wait on the perfect opportunity, no pitney now go born. Because everybody's going to be waiting for something that won't come. Because perfect life will never come. You have to do it in the life that is good enough. And sometimes the good enough is the perfect. I get that. But to pretend as though saying I want to be in an economically stable state with my significant other, with my wife before I have children, I don't consider that a silly excuse, Philip. And I would hope that as a child, my parents would have made a similarly good decision, which I think they did, by virtue of the fact that they had me in a household that was conducive to my development. And I think if you don't have that household and you think you want to wait until you have that household before you bring in a child, then that's fine, man. Yes, that will lead to a declining birth rate, and a declining birth rate is bad. But what's going to fix it, man? The cost of living going down or a mindset shift? Is it both? Is it neither? You're asking the wrong person, man. First of all, how many of us even have significant others to have children with? I can't say I do. I don't. That's another underrated aspect of it too, man. How many of us have people that can look at you and say, you know what, man, I'm all right with you impregnating me. I'm all right with you having my children or a child. How many men, women can look at another man and woman and say that? I don't know, man. People say the dating pool in Kingston is garbage. Is the dating pool trash? Because that was one of the questions we were seeing on Facebook. That was one of the answers we were seeing on Facebook, man. Oh, boy. I'm telling people to have children outside of a proper structure, my hero. We're going to have to talk about this another time, Philip. There's only 1 minute left. This show was made possible by our producer, Sonia Stewart, our technical engineer, Andrew Glenn Anderson, our 2 video editors, Jasmine Kennedy and M.R. Williams, and my younger brother, Akil, with the theme song for Comment Section. As long as I've got y'all, this show will be running, and it will be back tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that and the day after that. Thank you so much for tuning into the comment section. I'm Mahiri Stewart. See you tomorrow.
Every great project starts at Creative Building Finishes.